earth-shattering truths about today in history, March 1st. The year is 1945. With the help of the atomic bomb developed by Oppenheimer's Manhattan Project, the U.S. unleashes its fury onto the Empire of Japan and brings about a swift end to the Second World War. 4 years later, in 1949, the Soviets test their own nuclear bomb, shaking the United States to its core. So, despite much opposition from the scientific community, the focus shifts to the production of more destructive nuclear weapons. That brings us to here, March 1st, 1954. The Cold War is underway, and the United States is eager to explore new and more powerful ways to arm itself against the Soviets. But how would the U.S. achieve this? Well, to put it simply, they used the energy produced from a traditional nuclear fission bomb under great pressure and in the presence of an isotope of lithium to create a nuclear fusion reaction. This reaction was expected to yield an explosion 1,000 times greater than those unleashed on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The site to test this weapon would be the beautiful South Pacific shores of the Bikini Atoll in the Marshall Islands. And, well, the researchers had miscalculated the reactivity of the lithium within the bomb. It produced an explosion the equivalent of 15 megatons of TNT, nearly 3 times the expected yield. Nuclear fallout was ejected into the air and spread across the oceans, exposing the inhabitants of nearby islands to radioactive material, along with the crew of the ironically named Lucky Dragon No. 5, a Japanese fishing vessel that happened to be in the area. In the aftermath of the explosion, it became clear to many that the threat of nuclear annihilation was a far more real threat than they had originally presumed. In the preceding decades, efforts were made to scale back nuclear armament, and as the Cold War thawed, the threat of impending nuclear disaster seemed less and less likely than it did to those who had witnessed the power of the Castle Bravo explosion. The events which transpired on March 1st, 1954 in the Bikini Atoll would live on in popular imagination as a clear example of the dangers of nuclear weapons, and would even go on to be the inspiration for 2 pop culture icons, SpongeBob SquarePants, who lives in the presumed irradiated remains of the atoll, and the King of the Monsters, Godzilla, who is imagined to be a still-living dinosaur mutated by the explosion into a symbol of nuclear destruction. Want more history content like this? Follow The Goodle Days on all social medias, share the video, and tag a friend who loves history. We'll see you in the next one. Brought to you by ScripTalk, talking prescription labels for the visually impaired.